Alright boys, welcome back to another video. Knicks Daily here. We've got a lot to break down. It's currently Thursday afternoon when I'm recording this, which means the 2024 first round was yesterday. Today will be the second round of the draft. With the 25th overall pick, we selected Pacome Dadiet out of France. He's just 18 years old. He already has experience playing professional basketball since he was 16 years old in Europe, and he got better every month of the season. He's an incredible off-ball scorer who spaces the floor and can shoot the ball well at 6'8", 6'9"-ish. Being able to understand how to create offense is so crucial in the NBA, and although I don't think we'll see Dadiet this season or next season, the future is extremely bright for this young man if he can continue to develop. You look at his last 10 games of the season, he shot 43% from 3 and 84% from 2. So you add in a guy who knows how to play offense, who knows how to shoot, who knows how to play his role, right? Which is get open, whether it be cutting or finding a sort of angle. In a couple of seasons, the Knicks are going to have a piece that's ready to contribute, because right now they certainly do not need that. You look at our current depth chart, and I get injuries are a thing. Coach Tibb likes to play these guys to the ground. We've got Brunson, Bridges, OG Randall, Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein. I'm about to get into him in a little bit. It's looking like the Knicks have a legit shot, realistic chance at re-signing him because of the moves they're making. Miles McBride, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and then the rest is to be determined. Of course, we're going to be bringing in some second rounders, which are the cheapest option to this point, so they're going to be on the roster. And then, Precious Achiuwa is a restricted free agent. I don't think we're going to financially be able to bring him back in Hartenstein. So Jericho Simmons, maybe we pick his deal up because he's so cheap. So the Knicks are essentially saying we have our starters and our few role players, but now we need a way to go out there and to just sort of fill out the roster in the cheapest way possible so we can bring back Hartenstein. Because let's face it, the Knicks are a worse basketball team if they lose Hartenstein. Even if they just insert Mitch into the starting lineup and they draft a center in the second round, they're a worse basketball team. So the Knicks are not trying to go backwards by any means. It doesn't matter. Okay, Bridges, OG, that's fine, but we still need a reliable center. Mitchell Robinson is not a reliable center. It's not even just his durability. Is he going to be able to stay focused for an entire season and a playoffs? I don't know if he can. So that's where I'm at with the whole center thing. But in terms of the player that we drafted in Dadiet, I'm looking at him, and essentially he's a skilled shooter off the dribble. He's comfortable pulling up from the mid-range, whether it's stopping on a dime or stepping back. If he extends his range, he could become a major scoring machine, a true three-level scorer. With that size and body, he looks like he's a grown man. He's got an NBA-ready body. If he wasn't as raw, he could certainly step in and help the Knicks win some games, but he is raw, right? Defensively and rebounding, he's not where he needs to be, so he's only going to continue to grow. But in terms of him hitting open shots and getting looks, I mean, legitimately, guys, at 18 years old, he could help the Knicks, but it's just the other areas are not exactly where they need to be, which is why we're going to stash him, not saying in France or in Europe, right? We're going to keep him in our G League team and let him develop, because that's the beauty of being the 25th pick to the New York Knicks, is that you're not expected to come in and immediately shine. No, you take your time. We're going to grow you into the player that you have always wanted to be. You can make mistakes and figure out what you're good at and what you're bad at. And yeah, it's just awesome. And Dadiet, he talked about how he studied Paul George. He's watched DeMar DeRozan for his mid-range game. Tracy McGrady and Brandon Ingram, like these types of guys, right, that a little bit taller, length on them, can play either guard or forward or whatever, and I think he's just in the right space to continue to grow. And I actually do like this pick. I had no clue who he was when I watched the draft live, and that's not to say that he's an unknown player. I just simply didn't really study the draft very well because, again, the Knicks had some mid picks, and it was like, whatever, I'm kind of focused on free agency right now. But I do like this pick, and I think in the future it's going to pay off. If Dadiet does not come to the Knicks next season, New York will save his $2.3 million salary. I know a lot of Knicks fans, and I'll even throw myself into that, were like, why don't we draft Ryan Dunn? Because he was the perfect fit for this team. He's a defensive-oriented guy, generational type of defender, could have instantly helped us on that side of the ball if needed, if there was an injury to OG or something. It's simply just because we wanted to find cheaper options in the second round to save as much as possible. To me, this screams Isaiah Hartenstein re-signing, he's going to have to take less money than the Magic are going to be able to offer him, less money than OKC, but that doesn't mean that he's still not going to get 16, 17 million annually and be able to start center for the New York Knicks. And looking at who Leon Rose has drafted, whether that be 25 or 36, 25 Emmanuel Quickley, 25 Quentin Grimes, 36 Deuce McBride. Now there's been a couple of picks in there that haven't exactly panned out, but there is sort of precedent, I guess if that's the right way to word it, of course, Rose being able to draft in this type of range. So, and then of course the Knicks, they made a couple of moves. I mean, they had 24. They traded to the Wizards for 26 and 51, and then the Knicks traded 26 to the Oklahoma City Thunder for 5 second-round picks. If I'm being honest, what are the odds that 26 ends up being a better player than a second-round pick? I know it's higher, obviously, but is it that much higher to the point where it's like, let's just get a guy in a cheaper contract? So certainly he'll still be able to contribute down the line anyway. So I like what the Knicks did. I mean, yeah, I waited like, 2.5, 3 hours for the Knicks to come up, and they made one of those 2 picks, but they did what's best for the future of their franchise, and I'm certainly excited. And look at Hartenstein, the Knicks can only offer him a starting salary of about $16.2 million and a max of 4 years, $72.5 million. So that's going to be up to Hartenstein if he wants to take less money. And if he does end up taking, let's say, 90 to 100 million, which he could get, you never know, then you can't really blame him for it. But I mean, 72.5 million, that's still a lot of money. He's a good fit here as well. I'd rather be making less money with a beautiful, gorgeous fit than more money on a fit that's unknown, right? I don't really like the unknown, truly, be honest with you, and it's just very safe and comfortable with the Knicks. And this is a team that is certainly as good as anyone in the NBA. Outside of Boston, they're the reigning champs, I'll give them their credit, but outside of that, I don't think there's a team as good as the Knicks right now. We're in deep. We still have picks to work with. We have our same team back as last year besides Hartenstein, which we're trying to work on, and that was a 50-win team. We saw Randall and Mitchell Robinson missed like half the season, so certainly excited with where we're at. I'll keep you guys updated in the second round. OG, of course, for those of you that didn't see, signed a 5-year extension worth $212.5 million. Mikal Bridges, we traded a 2025, 27, 29, and 2031 unprotected first-round picks for him, a 2025 protected first-round pick, a 2028 unprotected pick swap, and a 2025 second-round pick, along with Bojan Bogdanovic. The reason why we did that was because Bridges requested a trade to the Knicks, but it's also just his fit. He's on a cheap contract. He's making, $24 million annually. He already has chemistry with Hart, Devo, and Brunson. He doesn't need the ball in his hands. He can score 17 to 22 a night without even needing the ball, just because he's the best corner 3 shooter in the league. He's a very highly effective and efficient scorer, especially with guys around him that can play make. So Randall and Brunson are going to be able to bring out the best in him. And most importantly, he's a good defender that doesn't miss games. So he can be available when we need him. And then going up against the Celtics, which is the team we're hunting, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, these guys are certainly going to get a lot of I don't know how to phrase it or describe it, but they're going to get a lot of guys being able to switch onto them that are going to make it tough on them. Josh Hart's another guy that can defend. Miles McBride, a little bit on the smaller side, but just all these bodies the Knicks are going to be able to throw at these guys are going to make it tough on them, because we know Randall and Brunson are going to get their points. We know that Dante's going to hit a bunch of three-pointers and things like that, and Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson, these guys are going to be able to get rebounds and go up with it. But overall, we just needed to have reassurance that the fact that the Knicks can defend Boston, because you're not beating the Celtics if you can't guard them, right? Doesn't matter how much offense we have. If you cannot get stops, you're not winning. So that's exactly how I feel, as the Knicks went out there and they just became a much better team yesterday by re-signing OG and drafting Dadiet, who's in the future is down the line is going to be a big-time scorer and shooter for us. And then, of course, now we're just focused on Hartenstein in the second round. It's your boy, Knicks Daily, guys. I'm signing out. Later.